Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for a special announcement here. We're excited to have the MVP of Super Bowl 43 in the house. I don't have to remind anybody that that was one of the most exciting Super Bowls of all time, and of course that last drive was something that we'll all remember, and that last catch was something we'll never forget, that's for sure. Just a few highlights. Santonio's career here, obviously the MVP of the Super Bowl. He finished his career with 235 catches for 3,800 yards in Pittsburgh. His rookie year, he earned our Joe Green Great Performance Award as our Rookie of the Year in 06. And he is one of 5 Steeler Super Bowl MVPs. I also want to welcome his wife, Lauren, and children, Santonio Holmes III. Santonio's here. And Scarlett is here with us. You know, one thing that we've always been proud of here at the Steelers is how our players graduate into being men in our community and giving back to their community. And we're certainly proud of what Santonio is doing now that he has gotten so involved in supporting the effort to find a cure for sickle cell. I'm sure he'll talk about it, but he's someone who's doing a great job and working hard to make a difference in the lives of others who need his help. So we're proud of him, and so I'm excited to introduce Santonio Holmes.
It's a very touching moment right now. It may not show on my facial expression, but wow. The dreams that you have as a kid, man, they become unmasked that one day. And one day, you know, as light is shined upon us from up above, that we really truly believe that someone from up above giving us the opportunity to live life and to be grateful at doing it. But in the midst, you touch so many people around the world with just one opportunity, and that's time. And that's all we need, is just a little bit of time. From 1995 until 2006, my dream was to become an NFL player. As far as I could remember, as a child growing wiser each year and every day, learning how to play the game, to run routes, and to beat defenders. I was teased as a kid that who couldn't catch and who always dropped the ball. And I was then once nicknamed the kid Hot Hands from the movie The Little Giants. That kind of stuck with me, but those remarks fueled me, and they proved to my peers who laughed while I was being made fun of that I knew deep inside that I was better than who they said and what they thought. I kept telling myself, one day I'm going to be one of those guys, if not, even better. Deep ball threat, greatest route runner, ability to take short passes and turn them into 6 points. Yep, that about sums it up. Draft day, 2006. With the 25th pick of the NFL draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers have chosen Santonio Holmes from the Ohio State University. Tears of joy filled my eyes as I hugged my mom and I whispered into her ear, "Mom, I'm going to become a Pittsburgh Steeler." And she said to me, "You know what that means, right? That big-time players must step up and play in big-time games." And I said, "I will." Goosebumps ran down my neck. And as I watched the entire NFL draft go by, the first 24 picks, not one of them was a wide receiver. Then the 25th pick came. And the next 8 picks after that, not one of them was a wide receiver. That's when I knew deep down in my heart that I was something special, that I had a gift that was going to be given to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cordell Stewart, Rod Woodson were amongst 2 of the favorite players at that time. So I chose the number 10 since the NFL had just opened up the opportunity for wide receivers to wear the number 10 through number 19. I figured this was the time that I get to showcase my ability to be just like Slash, and be able to do it all for the team. I had one moment that I remember, and I'm going to read it just like it is. So my first preseason game, we played against the Arizona Cardinals. And this was right after the Steelers had just won Super Bowl 40 versus the Seattle Seahawks. I didn't do anything in that game because I was too nervous, but I do remember the first time I was able to catch a kickoff return, and I had to down it because I was too deep in the end zone. But at that moment, I knew that I was in the right place at the right time because God had protected me from going against the Arizona Cardinals that particular time. That it wasn't my time to be the shining light upon the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Arizona Cardinals. But my fourth preseason game is when I realized I was able to play in the NFL. We were playing against the Carolina Panthers. And it was late in the game, and Coach Cowher called me up and told me it was my turn to return the punt. The first thing I do is I drop the punt. Luckily, there was a penalty on the play, so we was able to re-kick the play. And Coach Cowher called me over to the sideline because I think it was a TV timeout. And he looked me in my face and he gripped my jersey and he said to me, "If you want to make this team, you better show me something." And he shoved me back off into the game. And my heart was pounding back there as I stood back. And I remember, since day one of every time I go back to return punts, I would always cross my heart and I would tap both feet twice, just to get ready to make sure my shoes was on tight and that my heart was in the right place. It was time to get down to business. And boom, what do you know? 67 yards later, I'm in the end zone. And Coach Cowher looked at me and he said, "Well, I guess you deserve your spot on this team." And that lit a fuel under me that it was my time to go. Week one of the season opener versus the Miami Dolphins. My first pass went for 6 yards. 6 yards. 6 yards. That was the only catch I had in the game. And it wasn't even from Ben Roethlisberger. It was from Charlie Batch. I never forget that. I never forget that moment. By week 17 of that year, I became a starter in the NFL alongside number 86, who's one of our greatest of all times, my mentor. And we played against the Cincinnati Bengals in week 17. And it was an overtime catch that sealed the deal to make sure the Cincinnati Bengals didn't make it to the playoff game. It was a quick slant from Ben Roethlisberger that I was able to do the rest. And we were able to go home 8-8 that season. We didn't make the playoffs, but it still was a moment in time that really stuck with me that I was capable of being, somebody special in the NFL. And like Mr. Rooney said, that year I ended up being the team rookie of the year. To know that I was the only receiver drafted in the first round of the 2006 draft, to finish in my last catch for a touchdown to stop a team from making it to the playoffs, to becoming the rookie of the year, it all set precedents for who I was going to be coming in the future. The 07's highlight started off with a loss against the Cardinals. I want to say it was week 2 or week 3 against the Cardinals. We lost against the Cardinals. But I had 6 catches, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It was the first time I had ever scored 2 touchdowns in a game in the NFL. So I was very proud of that one moment. But like I said in the beginning, that wasn't the time for me to shine against the Arizona Cardinals. Later on that year, things didn't go as well. I muffed a few punts during the season. I fumbled a few runs. I still ended up with a decent amount of catches, but it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. So that offseason, I took as much time as I could to train, to prepare, to be better. I sat down with 86, and we talked about how can Santonio Holmes get better. How is it important for you to become a better receiver in the National Football League? You have to dedicate yourself to learning the little details that it is that you need to learn. You need to learn how to catch the ball, hold on to it, protect the football, dodge defenders, get out of bounds when you need to, and make first downs, and don't fight for anything extra if you don't have to. It was learning all those attributes along the way that propelled me to become, one of the greatest. I went to the Super Bowl in 2007 to watch the New York Giants play against the New England Patriots. And I sat on the 50-yard line from snap one to the last snap of watching Plexico Burress, who was a former Pittsburgh Steelers receiver, catch the game-winning touchdown. And as friends at that time, that lit another fuel under my belt. After that game, I got a chance to meet with Jerry Rice. And we spent 2 days training together. 2 days. I think that was enough. It was all I needed, was 2 days. He gave me the blueprint to what it took to become a great receiver in the NFL and to become a Super Bowl champion. In that summer, I worked on everything that Jerry had taught me, on how to run around the cones, on how to keep my body posture low, and how to watch the catch all the way through. Those things proved to come true come Super Bowl Sunday, February 1st, 2009. This moment is a moment in time that we look back and we think, how do we get here? It's all the hard work and preparation that we prepare for. It's the moments that we don't think twice about, but we're always preparing for them. And this is a moment that I didn't prepare for a retirement speech, but I did prepare for becoming a Super Bowl champion. So every day that year we worked. Roethlisberger and I, we spent time out in the off season, just throwing that same fade route pattern all day, every day, after every practice, and even when we were here alone. Hey, Tony, you want to get together and let's go out and let's just throw this pass. And who would have thought that come Super Bowl Sunday, that was the pass that was going to complete our season and put us right back on top as Super Bowl champions. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here, to retire as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and to leave a legacy that will be forever remembered. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Go ahead and open up the questions now for Santonio.
Tone, how often do you either think of that catch or are reminded of it, and you watch it sometimes and think, wow, that was something?
I have a ton of pictures in the house. I look at the magazines. I spread them out on my desk just to know that this was a great moment in time, that the history will never be repeated and it will never be forgotten.
That catch aside, is there one that stands out? Is it the goal line catch in Baltimore? Anyone in particular beyond that one?
If I leave it up to the fans and the people, there's no greater catch than the Super Bowl catch,
Right.
and I can't put anything above it because,
How about right below it?
well, if you look at, I'm not above anyone, but the bottom line is I'm a Super Bowl MVP.
What's special about playing for the Steelers for you?
What was special about playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers definitely had to be the family, the team, the brotherhood, the organization that you embraced into. This place open its arms and welcome you. They don't judge. They don't discriminate. They want players that want to play and win championships. And they bring in those caliber players. And when I knew that the Pittsburgh Steelers had drafted me as their first receiver to be playing for the Steelers, that I belong in that place with a list of guys who will be forever remembered here.
How does life change after you win a Super Bowl MVP?
Well, you get married, you have kids. The entire world embraces you. From the first moment I got a chance to go out in Africa in 2011, and I saw a person walking with the shirt from the Super Bowl, I had tears in my eyes. I broke down, and to be remembered around the world is something that you dream about. You only dream of these things happening in real life. And to know that someone recognizes me and loves me and care about me just because of what I did throughout my time in life and in history was a part of God's gift that he gave in each and every one of us, that we should touch somebody, whether it's near or far.
Anyone else for Santonio?
Do you watch the young receivers now? Compare yourself to any of them?
I watch the young receivers every day. I ordered the NFL package this year so I can actually sit home and actually watch and see how the receivers play, so they could give me an insight on what I could learn and teach the young guys from what I watch on film and be able to give them the things that they don't recognize that they're doing and what they're capable of doing to help build up their character on the field.
They have it really easy these days, protected.
I will say that they don't tackle as much in practice like that we used to do back when I first got into the league. That has definitely went down a ton, and could be one of the reasons why they have it, so glorious today, to be protected.
Anything final? All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Antonio.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.